Hello everyone and welcome back to TripleJump. My name is Peter.
My name is Ben.
And we're here to talk about what happened at EA Play Live 2021. Yes, that's it.
It happened. We watched finally E3 is over.
It is, yeah. It's been a weird sort of hanger-oner, hasn't it? Even though we're literally a month away, a month post E3.
Yeah.
But we did a little live stream of it, did some live reactions. That'll be available, of course, on the VODs channel if you want to watch that. But we're going to give you a quick rundown now of everything that was revealed. And you should be able to see little bits and bobs on screen as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
It was a nice little short show, wasn't it, in general? All we had, and we said this on our live stream as well, all we knew is that the pre-show started at 6. They didn't say when the main show started, and then as soon as the pre-show started, there was a 15-minute countdown timer, and they didn't really. There was no point to it at all, really. So
they just showed stuff that's already been shown. They literally were calling it like recaps or refreshers or something like that. They were saying just to remind you, this was already shown.
This happened.
Yeah,
this has already happened. So we instead skipped straight to the main show. It lasted for about half an hour, 40 minutes, thereabouts. And it was hosted by Austin Creed from the WWE, where he's better known as Xavier Woods. And I think he did a pretty good job, although, as I'm sure we'll discuss, some of the humour that was injected in was not particularly entertaining. But, what can you do? It's a video game event. God forbid that they just tell us about the games, eh?
He read what he was supposed to read and did it as well as it could possibly be done, I would say. But, yeah, it was all right. And, in terms of it being kind of a relatively short show, I thought, if nothing else, and this is kind of a bit of a contrast to some of the other stuff that happened at proper E3 this year, although there wasn't that much, I would say kind of everything that was shown, although it's not all actually for me, it was kind of worth being there. It was like, oh, that's an important thing that you've just shown me. There was no filler, there was no dead weight. It was all worth being there. So, that, I have to say, that's a good thing, as I say, compared to some of the other stuff we saw at E3.
Yeah, I think it was, if this was at E3, if this conference was at E3, I think it would do pretty well in people's rankings of the press conferences there. It was a good all-rounder that ended very strong and had something for, I'd like to say everyone, but certainly it would please several fan bases in one go, and can't really ask for much more than that. So should we get started, Peter, with Grid Legends, which is the new title from the recently acquired Codemasters, the racing people. And Grid Legends it's a racing game with a story mode. Now, a lot of people will probably think, well, Need for Speed has been doing that for ages, but this seems to be less street racing and far more, the high-stakes, multi-million-dollar race prizes world of various disciplines of elite-level racing. But they used some really interesting techniques to shoot actors, didn't they?
They did. You can't see me right now, Ben, but I was desperately trying to Google the name of it, because every time I forget what it's called, and someone even reminded us in the chat of the name of it. But it's that thing, Stagecraft. The volume is the name of the thing, yeah. Stagecraft is like a word associated with it, but the volume is the name of the one they use in The Mandalorian, where from a filmmaking perspective, it's quite unique in that a lot of the scenery, all of the scenery essentially, is built in engine. It's in a gaming engine. Because you're not running a video game at the same time in this stuff, you're able to render it to, a kind of photorealistic level. And then you have it on a screen in the background, and depending on how you move the actual camera that you're using to shoot the actor, that changes the orientation of the stuff that's being displayed on the screen, so that you have realistic parallax and stuff on the camera. It essentially just looks like they're really there where you are, and it doesn't look like there's a static screen behind them. It's very cleverly done. And now it's kind of come full circle, and they're using that to make cutscenes in a video game by shooting in live action with the scenery that's made presumably in engine. So it's all kind of, it's interesting how that's come around, but it's always fun to see when that's being filmed from a third camera, showing how the movement of the cameraman or woman affects the screen. It's very clever stuff.
Yep.
And it
almost
it
uncanny valley, wasn't it?
I was going to say, yeah, it kind of made you feel a bit like, are those real people, or is that... Because as it turns out, they were just live action people filmed on a camera. But I guess what we were really seeing was a non-real background, and our brains were trying to comprehend what part of this doesn't look real, because that looks like a human being, but there's something here that's not right.
Something's off.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting to see. But it sounds good to me that, it's a racing game with a story. I mean, I don't think I've necessarily got the time to add the racing genre in general to my gaming library, because there's so little time as it is. But it would be, if I was if I was looking for something else to get into, I would find that very appealing. It's not just, here's a very realistic racing game and you have to learn the exact lines and like tune up your car by like tiny degrees. You've also got a story mode there to just pull you along and make you feel interested. So I'm all for that.
Yep. And the novelty of having real actors there as well is always fun. You don't see that very often in games, and I quite like it when they do that. There's something almost a bit unnerving about it in the instances that it has been used, because usually it's sort of more, I don't know, like for spookier games. In particular, there's a moment in Mass Effect where they have, Shepard sees some kind of vision, and it's very quick cuts of real footage, and it's all, for some reason, just by virtue of it being real, it's a bit weird, like it feels a bit off. So there's a lot of scope for the real footage to be used in games. So I'm interested in this one.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good. Up next, we had a new update for Apex Legends. We'd already seen in the pre-show. I don't know if that was the actual reveal of the character in the pre-show, because there's a new character called Seer. But certainly they really built on that and showed a lot more in the show itself. So this character's got like little mini drones that can fly around. He like phased through a wall at some point. So looks like an interesting character. You played a bit of Apex in its kind of heyday, didn't you? Or not its heyday, in its
infancy.
When it started, in its infancy, yeah. It's kind of in its heyday all the time.
To this day.
Now, in its infancy.
Yeah, I played it very early on, and I was not very good at it, admittedly. Right. But it's a new legend to join the roster, just on an absolute tear, wasn't he? Just tearing through every single other legend available, making them all look like chumps. And almost, it was sort of partnered with the announcement of Apex Legends Emergence, which is, as confirmed in this article that we're looking at now, we did think, well, maybe that's what that is. It's the name of the new season of content. So we saw Seer flying across the map, sort of skating on snow, and then lava came down and it was sort of taking over the map. So it seems that there's going to be some map alterations on the way, as you would want from a new season of your Battle Royale Call of Duty Warzone. Anytime you want to do a new map, that's fine. We'll wait. Suppose we'll just have to keep waiting, but it looks like there's a lot more stuff coming to Apex Legends, and if you're a fan of it and if you're still playing it, then you got plenty to look forward to.
There you go. Yeah, Emergence coming soon.
Yes.
What was up next, Ben?
Lost in Random. We've seen this before. It's sort of Burton-esque in its visuals. It's one of those EA Originals games, which I've quite the affinity for, and we both do really on this channel. It's the sort of It's the label under which games like It Takes Two and Unraveled and what's it called, A Way Out is published by EA. So lots of cool, interesting indie-esque games, or just straight up indie, I suppose, developed by much smaller studios than EA would normally work with. I think EA, does EA own Hazelight, Joseph Fares' studio? I'm not actually sure. Maybe they just have a partnership.
They own it.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a new game coming from that studio. It looks really pretty. As we remarked on the stream, it's sort of a combination of Psychonauts and Little Nightmares in its kind of gothic weirdness. What did you think of the gameplay though? Because we saw some card-based stuff that kind of put us on edge a little bit.
Yeah, that was the thing. So as you say, we've seen this before, at least once, if not maybe some other show as well. No, maybe just we saw a reveal some time ago. But in any case, it looked good to begin with, because I don't recall seeing this card-based stuff the first time around. It just looked like this, interesting, as you say, Burton-esque, gothic, horror, psychonautsy kind of thing. They say as well, the developer was talking about how it's inspired by stop-motion films of a couple of decades ago. And it certainly has that feel, but now they've added in this dice battle gameplay, they call it, or dice battle combat, which had cards that you can purchase seemingly in-game and hopefully just with in-game currency. We saw the character picking up what looked a bit like bolts from Ratchet & Clank, I thought. And you spend them there. We're hoping that there's not going to be any microtransactions involved, but hey, you spend your money on what you want to spend it on, I suppose.
You get cards. There might be
get your
microtransactions.
Cards, pay to win. But the cards are then used in a combat situation, so it looked like you can just engage in regular combat and swing your weapon around and stuff, but then you're able to go into slow-mo. That brings up your deck in the corner of the screen, and you can cycle through and pick different ones. Now, in a sense, I was really trying to look past this and be... I'm just getting all tangled up in my wires here. Trying to be forgiving of it or not just hear the word cards and feel like, oh, this is a terrible thing, you shouldn't have done this. Yeah. Because essentially what they were doing, once they finally scrolled through and picked a card, is it just activated a special move, seemingly. There's one apparently where the little dice companion guy turns into a bomb and blows things up. Another one where they were spinning a hammer around in like a tornado. And if there wasn't the actual visual on-screen thing of, here's your hand of cards, then I wouldn't be as offended by this idea. But I don't know. Should you have to buy your special abilities in game like that with in-game currency? I suppose it's not much different to buying special ammunition for a weapon or something. It's just this card.
It's basically just a menu, isn't it?
Semantics.
I think it's just the fact that it's a card and the almost the gameplay baggage that comes with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just for us personally, taste-wise, like seeing a game that looks really interesting, and we did learn a little bit about the story as well. You and your sister are sent to this place and you get separated, you're trying to find her. But yeah, just seeing it's card-based combat, it was like, oh man, I kind of wish it wasn't. But then that only appeared to be a very, as you say, a very small part of the combat. Yeah,
I think he said as well, although they didn't show much non-card stuff, I think there was just a little line from the developer that was, oh yeah, and there's a lot more to do in the dice battle combat, so it's not... Otherwise, they would have called it card battle, right? So clearly there's like multiple elements to it. So maybe there's also dice you can buy. That'll be fun. So there's more to see from this, I think, before you make your mind up. And as I say, I'm trying to look beyond it and just not treat them like cards, just treat them like kind of menus. Purchasable... just a menu of abilities that you pick up in a shop, I suppose. But that's coming in September, all being well. So
it is. Looking pretty nice. Tell me about Knockout City Season 2.
Knockout City Season 2 is called Fight at the Movies. Knockout City is the dodgeball-style game. It's one of these, the kind of slew of quite stylized, quirky multiplayer games that we've had over the past... probably nearly a decade now. That's probably a bit much, but certainly 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years for sure.
Yeah, going back to even things as early as Splatoon and Rocket League have similar kind of vibes to this, but more recently, you've got obviously your battle royale games, but also things that just have a little twist. Like there's the I still can't remember the name of it, but there's that rollerblading one where you're going round and round. And,
is it Roller City? I don't know.
I don't know. And then there's like a one where everyone has rocket launches. Is that just called Rocket Jump?
Rocket City, I think.
They're all just
It's
cities.
Called Rocket City. Introducing Dodgeball City.
But there's loads of these games that are all kind of the same game, but they've got, this one's dodgeball, this one's rockets, this one's this. And Knockout City Fight at the Movies is basically just a new season where seemingly there are lots of different movie set style maps to fight in.
Yes.
That looked like that was it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry, I thought you were going to say more. I'm just Googling Rocket City. I don't think that's it.
Well, I was hoping that you might remember some of the specific ones that we saw, because I don't actually remember. Was there a Western?
Yeah, there was like a castle, and there was like a sort of cityscape that looks like it's something that King Kong would smash up. What I think you were, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the point you were trying to make there about it being part of a number of games that look quite similar. And when I said Fortnite, I meant aesthetically. There's a lot of games in this genre that have tried to sort of copy the Fortnite visuals. But Knockout City has really carved out a niche for itself. Like, it's really popular and people are really enjoying it. And the fact that it's even getting a season 2, the fact it's lived this long, because as you've pointed out, we get a lot of games that look like this, at least a couple a month, it feels like. And you often see a debut trailer at a show like this, and then you never hear about it ever again. Rocket Arena, I've just remembered. That's what it was.
Rocket Arena.
Yeah. So yeah, to see this game flourishing, people enjoying it, and it getting a second season, that's fantastic news, and I really hope people will like it. It looks like it's just a load of new maps. I'm sure some other additional content as well, but there is more Knockout City on the way. Mm-hmm. It's happening.
It's coming. Battlefield 2042 was the next thing we saw, and there's kind of I thought this looked really good, although I'm not actually a Battlefield player. We've got Battlefield Portal on the way. It's a new game mode, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please, Ben?
I certainly can. It had a great trailer where it took us way too long to realize that something was off, but it was soldiers from 2042 fighting Nazis from the 1940s, and then you saw, some Tommies in there, and you saw some American troops as well. Yanks. Someone died, and a little tag was on the side of their gun, and it was the smiley face from Battlefield Bad Company. And then they confirmed, yes, there's this new sort of Portal game mode where you can set up your own game logic and rules and basically pit forces from, I think, pretty much all of the Battlefield games, or at least a lot of the big prominent ones, against one another. So you can have like the futuristic 2042 soldiers facing off against a load of German soldiers with knives, if you want, which was one of the clips that they showed. And there was a bit where they did that classic Battlefield trailer thing where they blew up a car and launched it through space at a futuristic helicopter thing. So yeah, I was really impressed by this. It looked really good fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. As I was saying in the stream, I always think Battlefield gameplay just looks wonderfully chaotic, and I kind of wish that I was part of that, and I can be if I want to be. But like I say, so many games, so little time.
Yes.
But I think this is a really great concept, and I kind of wish that everyone could just steal the idea, and you could have all these different franchises and like IP saying, we're bringing out a new mode, it's called Halo Portal, and you can use all of these different, I mean, they're largely the same across Halo games, so that's not the best example, but any long-running series, we're mixing up all of our installments and you can pit it all against each other. Everyone should plagiarize this, that's what I'm saying. Go do it.
Do it. It's just like the Nemesis system in Middle Earth. Why hasn't anyone nicked that yet? What are you doing? Get on with it. The final thing, Peter, was a thing we all came for, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dead Space is returning. There was a little play along at home game running throughout the stream where you had to get letters and note them down, and you can then put it into the website, which of course was instantly down as soon as the stream was over because everyone tried to access it. And the letters spelled the words, "It's back."
It's back.
And it is. Dead Space is back. It was just a tease, really. We saw a spooky, the mining facility. A corridor on the spooky mining orbital station with a necromorph right at the end in some flickering lights. Just a couple of weird limbs. That's all you really saw. And then we saw the health bar along the spine of the character whose name I'm trying to remember. I want to say Isaac. That's it. Yeah,
Isaac Clarke.
I nearly said Ethan, but that's Resident Evil.
Ethan Winters.
Ethan Winters.
His latest hell. He's been sent into space.
Yes, yeah. So you've not yet had the pleasure, have you, Ben, of Dead Space?
It is a game that I have actively avoided because I was at my peak cowardice when it came out. And my friends played it, and I saw the insane critical reaction to obviously the first two. The third one, not so much.
Yeah.
But it's a game that I feel like I'm going to have to bite the bullet, grow up, and play on stream with you and Ashton laughing at me while I do a little cry.
Maybe so, yeah.
And stream
it's a
it.
lot
But
of fun,
it's coming.
though. It's fun to play, like, gameplay-wise. This is the first game I'm talking about. Who's to say how well or how badly this remake will be done, but I'm sure it'll probably be very good. And the atmosphere of just the opening kind of half hour of that first game. I was trying to say on stream, but we kind of just ran out of time. That a really memorable moment that a lot of people will know. You know, in BioShock, when you go around that corner and you see the shadow of the lady talking to the pram, like the baby in the pram, and then when you get there, is it like a shotgun?
There's a big old gun in the pram that she's talking to.
You get that in Dead Space 1, where you're walking down a corridor and you just hear this metallic clanging, like occasional bonk, 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 and you're like, okay, what's that? And as you get closer, you see, I think first you see the shadow of the body of something being like bashed into a wall, like the head being bashed. And as you round the corner, you realize he's not being like pushed or anything. It's just a man who has seen too much and is just slamming his head against the wall.
That's awful.
It's just horrible, but it's brilliant, and it's so it's just atmospheric, as this trailer was. It was very well done, and it looks super exciting, and I can't wait for us all to play it together on live stream.
Yes, absolutely. We know it's being developed by EA Motive, who recently did Star Wars Squadrons. Yeah. Now, nothing against EA Motive for Star Wars Squadrons, but I did not like Star Wars Squadrons. Obviously,
no, I didn't, really.
Dead Space, very, very different kind of game, and I have the utmost faith that they will do it justice. I don't think EA will let them not do it justice. So I'm sure that'll be good. And we do know that it's a remake because it's being described as a classic rebuilt.
Yeah.
So that's as close to confirmation as we're going to get without someone from EA, presumably as we're recording this, saying, yes, it's a remake.
Yeah, I think so.
But there we are. That was EA Play Live 2021. On the whole, as we said at the start, good show. Excited for a few things there. I do think I'm going to take the plunge on Battlefield, and I will cautiously watch Lost in random from a distance. We'll see if it's good.
Yeah.
And Dead Space, yeah, we're gonna play Dead Space.
Sure we are. I'll probably give Lost in Random a go, unless more comes out about this combat system before the game releases, and it just gets less and less appealing. We'll see how that presents itself closer to release. But I thought it was a really good show overall. I was pretty impressed with all of it. As I say, no filler, no duds, no rubbish.
Yep.
So well done.
Absolutely. Why not let us know in the comments below how you found EA Play Live 20. It's a lot of words. EA Play Live 2021. Yeah. Was there anything you were excited for, or that you were sad wasn't shown? They did sort of set expectations beforehand, and they said there'd be no Skate and no Star Wars either. So if you went in there expecting it, you only got yourself to blame. But anyway, we're going to go now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.